I have so much to say. He's like, nope, do it.
Erik has a lot to say, eh?
He does. He
And
does. This is
you probably
an
do too.
amazing I don't want to say coincidence because I don't believe in it. So synchronicity or meant to be.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you all, because I know we're recording now, but I just got home today because I was in the hospital with my daughter the past 4 days.
Yeah.
And she's like, are we still on for this afternoon? I'm like, wait, what? I forgot. And I said, okay, yeah, I can do it because I'm home. What's the topic? And when she said it's part two of what is it, GI
Yeah, gut health and disease.
and autoimmune disease is what you said, which is
Love
what
it.
my daughter was in the hospital for.
Oh, wow.
And so the last two sessions I've had to cancel because my life's been a shit show.
Mm.
But today, it's so meant to be. And I know this is part two, and I have not watched part one because
I
I just
don't
got
know if
home
it's up
today,
yet.
like I said.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's
Oh,
up.
okay. All right. So if I repeat myself, because Eric's like all excited and he's giving me all this information. If
Cool.
if if it's repetitive, let me know and we'll move on.
Don't worry
Um,
about
but it's a super near and dear topic to me right now
it. Yeah.
because my daughter was in the hospital with severe
Mm.
GI problems, severe nausea,
Oh,
severe esophageal and stomach pain.
yeah.
Hasn't been able to sleep or eat for at least over a week.
Yeah.
And she has Behçet's disease, which is autoimmune.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like this is meant to be, and it's not just a lesson for myself, but all of you as well.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited to see what he has to say.
That's awesome.
So let me get right into this because Erik is like, he's super excited. He's like, well, you know me. I'm the one that Erik comes through, and I don't filter myself. So
Good.
Mama E is like,
Good.
Heather, you're more like Erik, yeah. So let's
Yeah,
get right to
exactly.
it. Listen to this.
Okay.
All right. So here's what he's saying. This is first and foremost. All right. So when he says, I want to clarify by saying when um, Mama E reached out to me, I had a client, and so I did my client reading, and I just came into this, so I hadn't had time to prepare. But just as I was getting ready to come on, he gave me all kinds of information. So I'm like, oh wait, slow down, slow down.
Yeah.
So um, he's talking about okay. So he says you mentioned this before, Heather, how we've got the three brains, the head, the heart, and the gut.
Yeah.
Um, and so we're talking about how the three brains, the reason why we call it the three brains is because they are so identical. The brain is made up of it's pathways that affects nerves and its messages to our body, and it's
Mm.
this big pathway of nerves and electromagnetic impulses,
Mm.
which is identical to what's found in our heart and in our stomach.
Yep.
So the gut is really important, and he wants me to stress this again, which I've said before in videos, which is we go from the head to heart to the gut, head
Yeah.
to heart to gut. So it's this continuous loop, but we're meant to break that cycle from the head to heart, gut, gut, heart, head, gut, heart, gut. So we're meant to break this cycle. And
Yeah.
and he's also talking about okay, so he's jumping around. He's like he must have ADHD like me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he's jumping around. He's talking about the chakras. I'm not going to stop until he stops talking.
Okay.
So he's talking about the chakras. Okay, so he's talking about how we have seven chakras. Okay, so with the seven chakras, the middle one's the heart, but the gut one, the solar plexus, which is yellow,
Yeah.
it's the one where our stomach is, our gut. And so the bottom three are about our physical existence.
Yeah.
And then our heart ties all of them together. But the top three, from the throat to the crown, are
Spiritual.
about our spiritual existence. The heart connects all of them. But in order to heal all of our chakras, the solar plexus is the most important for that circadian rhythm of our body.
Interesting.
To allow all chakras to spin in alignment.
It's pretty important.
That is pretty damn important.
Oh yeah.
Because I always thought you heal the heart, you can heal them all. But he's like, no, sacral, not sacral, solar plexus.
Yeah.
He's like, that right here where the gut is where if you can heal the solar plexus, everything else falls into place. But we're continuously working.
I think it's just weird how the gut is just a bunch of tubes, and it's more than that, obviously, and that is so important, and yet it carries poop. So it's like people are like, "What? How could that be that important?" The heart is the organ of love, but the gastrointestinal system is the largest and most important endocrine organ. Okay.
Well, it is, and think about this.
Manufactures manufactures and utilizes more neurotransmitters than the brain does. So it is very important.
All right. I didn't hear that because I wanted to keep this, but he's talking about how okay, you were talking about neurotransmitters, the gut and poop. Okay, so he was talking about how with our heart, how to release heartbreak and how to release the stagnant heart chakra.
Yeah.
It's about moving that energy. The gut is about moving that energy through elimination. The heart is also elimination.
Oh.
And it's also sorry about that. It's also about through vomiting. So there's different kinds of elimination.
Purging. Yeah.
And yes, and you might find when you purge from the heart, you purge either through vomiting or diarrhea.
What about crying?
That's
sobbing.
Cool. Well, that is that as well, but for the sake of he's talking about for the sake of this conversation, we're going to stick to the gut.
Okay.
Because crying is a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
So he says we're finally coming to, in this day and age, we're finally coming to the forefront of how important gut health is to mind, body, and spirit. So when he says mind, body, and spirit, he's showing me mental health, feeling like you belong in this world, and your body feeling like shit.
Yeah.
But we're in resistance to it because we don't understand that connection yet. It's not really a big focus in the medical system right now.
No, it should be. No, it's not.
And so now I don't know the questions yet, but he's talking about probiotics. All right. So stop me if I'm repeating what the first video said, but
like I remember
about probiotics.
Yeah.
What's that?
There's prebiotics and post.
There's pre and pro.
And there's
so he's talking about probiotics right now. Pro. And there's so many of them. It's overwhelming. And that is a disadvantage to what we're trying to accomplish. Now, the best probiotics you can get is through food, but also probiotics do serve a purpose because they help like sort of jumpstart your immune system. All right, he's showing me the small, okay, so so now he's showing me how digestion works. Okay, and I'm a nurse. I've been through, it was 35 years ago. So he's showing me the small intestine, and he goes, that's what's affected first. And that is where you absorb nutrients. And we are unable to absorb the nutrients from food these days, and we're seeing a lot of gastroparesis. And gastroparesis is preventing us from absorbing those nutrients and from the probiotics over the counter working as well,
Oh,
because
wow.
they die in the stomach and the small intestine before they get to the stomach.
Okay.
They die in the, no, I'm sorry. They die with the
The acid.
enzymes from the swallowing
Yeah,
and
the
the
salivary. Yeah, but
and
now
the
they have
stomach.
ones
Oh,
that
wait,
I just
and the small intestines before getting to the large intestines.
okay.
Thank you. I
But
need a diagram.
they have new ones now that are encapsulated that will wait and get to where it needs to go before dissolving. So that might be helpful. But anyway, yeah, from food, it's the natural way is always the best.
It is. So now he's also talking about how these GI problems can be passed through DNA. So we're talking about from our actual DNA and how our bodies form from genetics can be predisposed to certain problems like celiac and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
aversions to foods,
Yeah.
lactose intolerance, stuff like that. But it's all based on trauma and your DNA. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's not a real physical thing. It is.
Okay.
Um, and so he's talking about the healing part of it too. He says it's going to get worse before it gets better. He's talking about like die-off symptoms of the so
Oh,
we're
the
talking
bad
about
bacteria?
good
Yeah.
bacteria versus bad bacteria,
Yeah.
because
Right.
our bodies need bacteria and living organisms to survive.
Right.
Now there's overgrowth of good ones and undergrowth or not enough of the there's overgrowth of bad ones, but
Yeah.
not enough of the good ones. Um, and this is from eating a lot of from recent generations. I want to say the past 2 generations of foods that are actually undigestible,
Yeah. Like
and the
the
chemicals.
new kind of wheat that they have that they produce a completely different genome
All right,
that
so there's different kinds
not
of
good.
wheat. He's saying
Yeah.
there's different kinds of wheat.
Right. And there's
Now,
processed
not
food.
all wheat is bad,
No.
but there are certain kinds that our bodies won't tolerate, and that also depends on our genetics.
Yeah.
Now, also, he's talking about how corn, passes through your poop.
Mm-hmm.
In rice in Asia, they're used to it, and that's a DNA thing. Like
Oh.
genetically, through all generations, they've eaten rice.
Yeah.
We haven't.
Mm.
So rice is hard to digest as well.
Yeah.
So people who go gluten free, this is really interesting because my daughter's gluten free.
Mm.
People who go gluten free and who eat rice based products can sometimes have a hard time digesting those
Wow.
because our body has to get used to it.
Right. That makes sense.
Um, but he's also talking about how we can put energy into our food before we digest it, how we can take our energy with our hands and really put it around the food and just
Mm.
say, release what no longer serves me. Because we
What a
we
great
we
idea.
are,
It's all about
yeah, because
intent, manifesting. Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
because our reality is what we perceive it.
Yeah.
So if we're sitting in front of a plate of food and we don't feel like we can digest it, or every time you sit in front of a plate of food, you're in a glass of water, you put your
Yeah.
hands around it and your intent is, this is, I am acclimating this to my body. This is for my highest healing good. So it is, so it shall be. Let's zap this energy into here that is for my health and highest healing good.
I like that.
And that's very powerful.
Yeah.
He's comparing that to like the crystal water, where they have the waters where you put crystals on the
Oh
bottom
yeah. Uh-huh.
and they can change the taste of the water.
Mm.
It's the same thing. Our energy and our electromagnetic field can actually change the quality of something.
Yeah. That's
So
so
don't underestimate your strength when it comes to this.
people
So
do.
now he's also
They don't
talking about,
power. They just don't. We're a whole and part of God. We have to at some point realize that we are very, very powerful. So
right. Now he's also talking about how our stomachs, so people take, and this is from nursing experience too, we do like protonics and Tums and stuff like that. But vinegar, actually taking a shot of vinegar works better than any pH higher solution.
like apple cider
We
vinegar, because when people ask about that.
yes, yes.
Okay.
I mean, if you don't have it, any type of vinegar will work because you want that acidity.
Yeah.
Um, because actually doing the pH higher stuff is doing us a disservice in our gut.
So, they've got a bunch of alkaline waters. So that's not good then, huh?
You need to balance that out.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. Um, so he's talking about the gut health and absorption of vitamins and minerals, and he's really relating this to, and I know we talked about autoimmune diseases, but he's relating this to absorbing nutrients
Yeah.
and especially B12.
Yeah. Very important.
Uh, Now, the small intestines is where we absorb all our nutrients from food,
Right.
and that is being compromised,
Mm.
which is increasing our autoimmune disorders
Yeah. Well, are you
because we're
talking
not
about
getting the nutrition.
like leaky gut, but also small intestine bacterial overgrowth, SIBO,
Yes,
the things like
yes.
that? Okay. Yeah, I agree.
And leaky gut is being compared to a lot of boundary traumas, but it's
Oh,
also being compared
thanks.
to what are you showing me? I can't get these images. All right, leaky gut. So we're talking about permeable membranes,
Mhm.
stuff going into the fluids. It's not supposed to be there. What is the cause of leaky gut? It's an osmosis thing.
Yeah. It's not important, but it
Now
can
he says it
allow
is.
inflammatory
He's
molecules to come in and into your blood
okay. So he's
tissues.
also talking about. So he says this is kind of important because we're talking also about how I don't know how many people believe in that we're not the only ones here, that
Right.
there are other life forms and it's not compatible. So you think about Rh negative moms,
Oh yeah, right.
think about the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, it is something that can be fixed, not fixed, but helped
Yeah.
through the proper nutrients and probiotics to
Mm.
help balance out that biome that we're not used to.
Yeah. And with ascension, and we talked about this already, my in part one, what we can tolerate food wise is different. It's going to change as our
It
energetic bodies.
changes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was on date night, my Wednesday date night last night with my husband, and I'm just so fascinated by what I've learned and the just recent research on, gut dysbiosis and how it's linked to disease, a not good microbiome. And I thought, let me look up something. How about infertility? Boom. Scholarly articles about how it's connected to female infertility and male infertility. So, okay, well, that's interesting. Was it everything? So I said, let's try migraines. Yeah. Oropharyngeal microbiome is
Yep.
completely connected with. So it's almost like almost everything has some sort of relationship to the microbiome of the body.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. And it's more natural than we think
Yeah.
because there are a lot of medical procedures that can help, but it is more natural. It and Eric's like, tell a story, tell us. My daughter's going to kill me. But anyway, my daughter was diagnosed with Behçet's disease at 13, and she's 25 now, but it's a rare disease that it's sort of like leprosy, where you get ulcers everywhere on the dermis and all of your internal membranes. So she ended up with a G tube because every time she swallowed, she would get ulcers.
Oh.
And she had C. diff like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And she couldn't get rid of it. So we went to the ER for like the 6th time, and the doctor that was there was fantastic. This guy was truly in tune. And he said, and he talked about stool transplant, right?
Yeah.
To help
Fecal
C. diff.
transplants from
Right.
normal biomes.
So he said, yeah, you could go to Boston and get a fecal transplant, but honestly, Mom, you could shit in a cup and put it in her G tube, and that's good enough.
Oh,
and I did.
A good microbiome.
And I did.
And did it help?
She hasn't had C. diff in 10 years.
See, that's amazing. That's amazing.
So our bodies, and it's one of those things where people will be like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? But seriously, our bodies are so in tune with each other. And the fact that we're all one, and that it's not as complicated as we think it is.
It isn't.
And we have more power than we realize.
Exactly. But the medical community makes that difficult to believe because we're the doctors, just listen to us, or we're the nurses, just listen to us. And so, we feel like, well, they know better. And so we don't really, abdicate our own sovereign authority over our own health. So that.
Right. Well, it's what we read in black and white, in having been a nurse for so long, and this is what we're taught. And we don't go outside the scope of our practice.
I know.
Or protocol, or else we get in trouble.
Yeah.
But then what
I don't like that.
see,
I don't like this new, whatever evidence-based, this, that, the other thing. I practice medicine through intuition, and it's always done well, instead of like, well, statistically, so I'm glad.
It's definitely going in that direction.
Yeah.
Because in the state of Maine, Reiki is actually covered by health insurance. So it's going in that direction. And so don't give up on the whole woo-woo stuff in healthcare, because it definitely is.
Yeah.
And so we just got to be patient with that, but also trust our own bodies and listen to our own bodies, and not be embarrassed or feel like we're stepping out of line by doing the things that we feel like we should do when we're called to do it.
Exactly. Do you want to get into some of these questions? Because I got a lot.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Erik, interested to know if low dose naltrexone will help all these issues, that are related to the microbiome, including celiac disease. And if so, how long until one would know the difference? In other words, would that person be able to eat gluten again? Low dose naltrexone.
Right. So he says that the low dose naltrexone is a, so he's showing me as a curtain into the doorway of healing, but there's also other things involved there. So it is the start of getting a sort of, what's the rhythm they call in the healthcare system, the rhythm of the body, not circadian, but there's another rhythm.
Homeostasis, maybe?
Yes, homeostasis. Okay. So low dose naltrexone is good for that.
Okay.
It's not going to cure all diseases, because there's things involved that need to be addressed and overcome for that. But it's a good jumping off point.
Yeah. Okay. Now, a lot of nutrition doctors talk about a plant-based diet being better for your microbiome, but then I hear people talking about bone broth being good for you. Is one approach slightly better than the other for your gut health?
Okay, this is a hugely what do you call it, political topic.
Oh,
but I'm going to see what he says.
Okay. Don't shoot the messenger.
Exactly. All right. So there's a happy medium here. man was raised on meat and from what grew from the earth. There has been a lot of talk about not eating meat because of how animals are treated. And then there's talk of not eating meat because it's so bad for your body.
Yeah.
But what does your body tell you? If your body tells you not to eat meat, don't eat meat. If your body tells you to eat meat, then you need it.
Yeah.
It's like people who don't like to eat sugar or dairy.
Yeah.
If your body tells you not to do it and you feel better not doing it, then so be it. But
Right.
don't judge others who need it because all of our bodies are different and require different sustenance in order to survive.
Okay. All right.
That's a very vague answer, Erik.
No, I mean, look, so when people ask, oh, shouldn't we all be vegetarians? Because it's so cruel to kill anything with a face. And that's my husband, except he doesn't think chickens have faces for some reason, or fish because he eats lips. No, they're not real faces. I don't know. So anyway, but Erik said that the soul of broccoli is just as important as the soul of a cow. I mean,
Absolutely. They're all living organisms.
and basically it's like you must raise them and slaughter them or harvest them in a
Right.
humane way and express gratitude. All right, so here's another one. I suffer from an autoimmune disease, psoriatic arthritis, and I believe my guys are telling me leaky gut is the cause. Is this right? I don't know this person, but I mean, in
This is
general, is
this
that a possibility?
so there are issues that come out physically that are also a trauma that
Yeah,
we are exhibiting in our physical bodies that's trying to help us to heal.
yeah,
Um, the gut health is very important in healing autoimmune, definitely.
yeah. Okay.
Also, getting to the root of your pain and suffering as well.
Was
Because
it
autoimmune
trauma?
is also your body fighting itself
Yeah.
and wanting to die. Your body's fighting
Related to,
itself.
is it related to self-loathing?
It's related to many different things, but the
Yeah.
bottom line
And
is that your body is fighting itself
wow.
because it doesn't feel like it deserves to be here.
Wow.
And I feel like this person is going to really resonate too.
Yeah. All right. Would plantains help at all?
I don't know what plantains are, but I'm feeling like
No,
it's sort of an
it's like a banana kind of thing.
okay,
But
so it's like in a fruit. Okay, like an
yeah,
acidic thing. Um,
acidic, I'm not sure.
so I'm getting the skin,
Huh?
not the fruit itself, but the skin of it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that means, and maybe you do, but
I know,
the
but maybe
skin
yeah.
is important.
Okay.